Assalamu alaikum, welcome everyone. Just give me a second to close the door. Welcome again, and very happy to see you today as well. We'll continue talking about Java programming, and we'll have some fun activities today, and we'll do some revision on what we did last time, and then I hope you will enjoy it. Okay, let me open my screen. I can see the number there, but we will start. Just organization of the content. Move this one here, that one there. Okay, good. Okay, we'll start by quick revision on what we did last time, and then we will get into today important topic that we will discuss. And wait for a few minutes, maybe one more minute. I can see we have the number is going up, so let's wait for some time, not that much, okay. I think maybe we are ready to start. Others will join. I'm happy to see that the recording of last session being watched by so many people. I can see the 800 views on the last session on YouTube. 800 is good for something that is knowledge based. So the 800 people, 34 likes, which indication of people been watching it. I hope that all of you did watch the recording, because it's a good way to get revision of what we did. And if you practice and you want to do some work, anything you stuck, you can go into the recording. Okay, for today, let's just do a quick revision. Last time, session 1 was on Java programming, and we spoke quickly about what we want to achieve. We want you to be able to write programming code in Java. That's the main thing. So you should be able to design the code, debug it, and run it, and do. And we want you to be able to learn on your own, which is a very important thing, as we said. Then we moved into history of Java, started in 91 until now. There is version 22, you noticed. And we said, why we using Java? What's special about Java? It works on multiple platforms. It is object-oriented, which make it scalable. The code can become too big and project can be too big without losing track of how that project is work. It's a simple language compared to C and C++. It's more secure. It has multi-threading, which allow you to run multiple versions of the same application to do multiple things, which I said in gaming is important, and web technology is very important, because multiple users using the same thing at the same time, and that allow it to treat each one as one on their own. And it's powerful in terms of managing its time, handling exceptions, and checking any runtime issues that might happen. And highly performed, can be distributed. Can the code run on multiple machines, multiple operating systems, and it still can work and look like it's a one system. And it's a dynamic in terms of dealing with data, and has huge libraries. At some time we'll go through these libraries, and you will see how big these libraries are. Yeah. Then you can download it. Can you mute, please, if you're not talking? Just mute your microphone. Again, raise your hand when you have questions. and use the chat for discussion, but use Q&A for questions. I'm doing just quick revision now. So you can download it from Oracle, and this is the link to do it, but also you can run it through the rebel.it, which I recommend for you in this session, because we are not in the same place. We are not in the classroom or in the lab. So this will work on any machine. You don't need to install anything. And even your phone, you can program and do things you want to do. We had some few things about concepts in Java or any programming. You need to have sequence. You need to put things in the right order. They need to be, and you need some time to make some selections using some conditions like if, else, switch. In case we have seen little bit of if and else, but we'll see it in more details in the coming sessions. We can use loops to repeat code, and instead of rewriting them again, you can repeat them, and we'll be focusing on loops today, and we'll do some work on loops that. And there are multiple loops. It's important to know how you can structure your code, and here comes the functions, methods, object-oriented programming, which we'll do about it. We had a quick look at the structure of a Java code. If Java code will start by specifying who can access it, either public, private, or protected, then you should have the word class, then you should have a name for your class, and the name should not have any space in it. And then you have starting this brace and ending this brace. This means your code has to go inside this two thing. It cannot be outside this two thing. And then comes your main method, which any Java code should have this main method, public static void main string argument, and it has start of that method, end of that method, and the code go inside that method. For now, we will be doing everything inside this method, but later we'll create our own methods that we can link it to the main method. And to print anything, as you remember, we said use system out println, and then you have a semicolon at the end of every line almost, except the for loop, the if statement, the else, these things. And we did some practice. We have looked at some practices of printing our name, age. Then we looked at some practices on printing multiplication. I gave you some examples which we went through. And this example, for example, using F statement. So we're getting the age of a person. Then we use something called scanner, which I will explain in details today, to get the user to enter the data from the keyboard, and the data will be stored in age. If age is more than or equal 60, then it will print 500. If it is otherwise different from that, it will print 300. So that else comes in play. We'll look into this in more details. I gave you these exercises last time. I'm sure if you access this presentation, but these some exercises I would expect you have done at home or tried something similar to them, but we will get into doing them again and again. Today's session is we're focusing on a few things. We're focusing on the scanner class, the user input class, how we can use it. Last time we just spoke about it very quickly and saw an example. Today we'll get in more depth so you can understand it very well. Then we'll understand the use of loops in Java and how we can deal with the loops in Java. And we'll be focusing more on for today, but we'll do while next time. If the time allows, we'll do it today. And then we'll talk about something called arrays. Arrays is a more effective, efficient way to store data than variables, the normal variables, single variables to do. And we'll see how this can be used in our coding. So let's start now by looking at, I'm just looking at the chat if there's anything that needs some help. Okay. Good. There's nothing there. Okay, so let's get here into using the scanner. Remember last time we used the scanner to allow the person to enter his or her age, and based on that age, it does. So the scanner is something in Java library, and Java library has multiple things, many things, millions of codes, and they are ready to be used. If you want to use scanner, use it to get input from the user through the keyboard. And where is yeah. There are steps to go through that. So I just summarize the steps for you. The first step, you need to import the scanner from the library. And when you do this, you do it at the beginning of the file. I will go and do it in practice. It should be in the beginning, before the word public class. Before that, you should have this to be done. And you write it this way. The word import is lowercase, which means use something from the library. And I want to use Java util. These are utilities of code, and many classes there, but we want to use the scanner class. So this way we're saying from Java library, use the package called utility. From that package, use the scanner class. Okay, so you need to write it this way, semicolon. Now, if you put scanner lowercase, it will not work. And if you have any space inside this one, it will not work. So you have to write it exactly the same as it is. So this line should be added to the beginning of your code. Okay, can be the first line if it's the only import you have. Okay, the next step, you need to create an object of the scanner class. What means object? You can look at it as a variable. So I need to create a variable that the data type of that variable is scanner. And that variable now can do many things for us. The way you do it this way. Scanner, which is the data type. Remember before we use int, we use double, we use string. Now instead of int, double, string, with our data type is scanner, which actually coming from the library. So we're saying to the computer, create a variable called scanner with S lowercase of data type scanner. Okay, so this variable is a special variable. We call it object, because when you create variable from a class, we call it object. When you create a variable from int, double, string, this is just a variable of that time. So this can be scanner, can be S, can be M, can be anything. The name, it's up to you. But this one is not up to you. This one has to be scanner. So scanner, then you come with a name that you like, usually scanner with lowercase, which means the object. Then equal new. If you create anything from a class, because scanner is a class, you should use new. But if you're creating it from int, you don't need to use new. Just you put a value there, equal 5, equal 10, equal 20, equal 100, equal whatever it is. But here, because scanner is created from a class in the library, we have to use the word new. Okay, we'll come to this with more details when we come to object-oriented later. But for now, you need to know you have to use new, because you're creating a variable from a class. Okay, and then again, the name of the class, this scanner is uppercase. You can see this one and this one are identical. They are the same. They have to be the same. Okay, and then system is capital input, means use system input as feeder to the scanner. So what the people enter from the keyboard will be used to get the scanner to work. Okay, so this line, if you call it here S or M, this S or M we will be using in the next step. If we call it scanner, we'll use scanner in the next step. If we call it Y, I'll use Y in the next step. Because basically I created a variable now that from now on, I use that variable. I would not use the scanner with uppercase anymore. So the steps I did, first one, I imported scanner. Second one, I created a variable from that scanner that I will be using in the rest of my code. And I called it scanner with lowercase. I called it scanner with lowercase. So this is the second step, okay? The third step, I have to use now the scanner itself. So I need to use it to read data from the keyboard. So reading input from the user, okay? Now, how I do that? This is the way to do it. There's multiple ways of doing it. I called it scanner there, yeah, isn't it? With our lowercase. Now here I can say scanner dot next int. If I use next int, this way I'm reading an integer from the keyboard. The user has to enter integer, not double or string or anything. But if I use next double and see the D uppercase and int is uppercase here, just for you to be careful. This line, if I use scanner dot double, that means I'm expecting the user to enter double data with decimal point, with fractions to do. If I want the user to enter text, not really numbers, then I need to use something called next line. So next double is get me double, next int gets me int, next line get me text from the user. So the user need to enter the text. And then we have the one that read single word, not a full text, just single word. Okay, and this is next. Next, without anything, it will read only a single word from the keyboard. So these are the things we have. One more is the Boolean. The Boolean get true or false. Yeah, and this next Boolean is we read a Boolean file. So we have 5 of them. Int for integer, double for double, line for text of multiple words, and next is for one single word, and next Boolean is for reading Boolean. And then once you finish working with the scanner, it's a good practice to close it, because the scanner is like opening a door for you to get input from the user keyboard. And when you finish getting the input, you need to close it so nobody else can use it or to do input unless they create it again and start it again. So a good practice to close it, and you can use close in that one. We will get into examples of using that, and let's get in examples, then we can continue our journey to do. Okay, like X, yes, correct. Yeah, I can see the comment. Questions, just looking at the questions, if any question there. So do we add a dot before writing? Yes, correct. You need to have a dot before. Does next line only read one line? It reads one line, correct? But if it reads like a paragraph. If you don't hit enter, it will continue taking that data. There is no meeting today, the meeting on Thursday. Today is Thursday, isn't it? Khalid, today is Thursday. Unless you live somewhere where still we are on Monday. Yeah, I was confused myself, Khalid, at some time with what is today. Okay, anyway, so I can see there are no questions. So let's get into some coding and enjoy using the scanner so we better understand how it works. Okay, so I'm getting here. As I said last time, this is another revision. You need to go to replit.com. If this is your first day coming to us on Java, in case sometime it happens with some people, when you join, you will have a page looks like this. If you go replit.com, which I'll put also in the chat. I know most of you already know, but in case someone said, I still didn't understand. Where is that one? I still didn't understand the use of I think scanner. Okay. Well, you will know now, inshallah. You will know today. We'll go through that. So when you get into the page, you will see a page like this on Replit.com, which a platform that allow you to program in so many languages. I used to say 40, now they added so many other things. Then you get there, you need to create an account. You can say sign up. And my advice, use your Google account to sign up, because that's maybe a more easy and efficient way. You don't need to remember the details of that. So once you get there and you sign up, you will get to this page. Your page will be different from my page for maybe for the number of reasons. One is the first reason I've been using this Replit for many years, maybe 15 years or something like that. And the other thing, so I have my own thing. And the other thing, I have a subscription. I'm not using the free one, but the free one will do for you everything you want to do. When you get to this page, how I can start creating my first code. Excuse me. Think you know. Here is the create REPL. Yeah, that's create REPL is the place where you go. Of course, you can create folders and organize your things, but let me just click here on create REPL. When you get into REPL, you need to choose Java programming. Maybe yours default is not Java, but you need to find Java. And there are a number of Java. There's Java, and there's something called Java FX. Java FX is for graphical programming, which hopefully we'll get some time to go through it if we have time. But the Java is the core Java programming. So let's go into core Java. You can give it any name here. Practicing scanner. You call it anything you like. Okay. So I just put this one so I can remember. So once you do that and click, you get into the page which you hopefully familiar with. This section is where your files are, and your files, you can see there's a folder called source code. Inside it, there's something called main, and inside it, there is a Java, and inside there is main.java. This is the class we're using. And on the other side will be the outcome we're going to do, and there is something called AI, which we'll look at it later. And it'll give you a ready code. The green part here that you can see called comments. Comments means something that the code will ignore. The computer will ignore. For the computer, this is just information for the developers. And there are a number of type of comments. I'll delete them now. But what usually people do at the beginning of the class, they add comments to say, what is this file for? Okay. And you can do this way. So if you want to add a paragraph that include information, general information, can be anything you write here. Even if you have spelling mistake, the code will, the language will not care about it. This is information. But this is usually explaining what this code. So it can be this file is an example of using scanner plus. So I can add this one. So if someone open this file, he will understand. But you notice how I created this green one. There are different ways. One way, if you have a paragraph you want to do, you can use this slash star and end by star slash. This is in Java. Python is different one. We'll come to Python, we'll explain that one. I know the group of you came from Python. Python is used differently. So this will allow me to write multiple lines and write so many things to explain this file to the users, okay? That's one way. The other way, if I have only one single line I want to add, then I don't need to use this slash star slash. I can use double uh, slash like this. So this is the scanner example. Yeah. So this is only one line. If it is one line, use those two slashes. But if it is a paragraph with multiple things, use this way where you can put star slash star, then star slash. This will allow you to add a paragraph. Usually in the beginning of the code, people add paragraphs. Okay. And then for single line, you can add a single line. Now, I'm not going to do anything now because later I will do it. I just want you to focus on the things I want to focus on, and then we can. But adding comments is critical in coding practice because people later come and look at your code. If you don't have explanation to explain to them how this code work, what is the purpose of it, then they will get confused about it. So comments is important practice, but because I want you to be focused on what you see on the screen, I'm just removing it. Now, how to use the scanner? You can say, we say import Java lowercase utility scanner. See Java lowercase util lowercase dot scanner s uppercase and then semicolon. You notice I put it before public class main. If I take it and put it inside, it will not work. If I come here and put it, I'll get an issue with my code. Okay, my code will not understand it properly. So it has to be done before. So remember that, please put it before. Okay, of course, you can import other things. You can add another line and import another one, import other thing. And importing is similar, yes, to C++. Those who came from C++. Also, it's similar to Python to do. You don't need a semicolon at the end. And importing is in almost now every language because it's the way to do things. In C++, you have also include, you can use something. In other languages, there are other words to be used, but the concept is the same. You're connecting to a library of code. Now we're importing only scanner from this package called utility. Util. We're importing only scanner. So this is the first thing. I need to import that. Second thing, I need to create an object. Okay, let me add a comment here. Create an object of scanner. This is just a text I added. When I run the code, if there is spelling mistake in this one, it will have no issue with my code. So let's create. How we create it, you need to know what class you are using. So I'm using scanner. I need to create object of scanner. So I need to start by the word scanner and less uppercase. Then I'll call it S. I like you calling it S, okay? And then it's completed now the code for me. Basically new scanner, and that's it. So this line now we have now has created something called SM scanner, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And this scanner can be now used in the next step. So let me say I want the user to enter two numbers. Okay, we have two numbers. I want the user to enter two numbers and add the total of the two numbers. Okay, so we'll say here, ask the user to enter two numbers. Okay. So let's come here. Let's first number, is it integer or double or what it is? Let's start by integer. So if it is integer, we call it int a or num1. Let's call it num1. semicolon. This is the first number. And end num2. We declare now the two numbers, okay? This one is declaring the first number. See, I started using coding comments now. First number. This is just an information to the programmers who will read my code. Okay, and this is declaring the second number. So we just declare the two numbers. Now we need to ask the user to enter the first number. We need a message to come with the screen. Well, this is the message: system out print enter the first number. Okay. Now, how we can get that from the user and store it in number1? So we say num1, oh, it's already here. Num1, and I'm going to explain it. Num1, we're using S. S is this one we created here. If we call it M here, we'll use M here. If you call it scanner, we'll call here scanner. Whatever we call it here, we call it here. And now it's reading the first number. Okay, now I need another message, enter the second number, and I'm getting the second number. Okay, so these two lines now reading the two numbers. Okay, I can add a comment to the same line here, getting the first number, and this is getting the second number from keyboard. Okay, I'll add here from keyboard. Okay, now I add the two numbers. I need another variable to store it, isn't it? So let me say integer sum, okay, semicolon, okay, sum. Okay, and I can do it this way. So integer sum num1 plus num2. So this is adding the two numbers. And at the end, I just want to display the outcome. So system dot out dot print ln. I will have a question for you to answer for me in a second when I'm done. Okay, so now we finished. Let's just make sure our code is properly structured. One thing you need to have a good understanding of is how you organize your code. See now, this is the main method. This is the public method, the main method. This is the main method, and this is the main class. The main method is pushed to the right, indented to the right. Okay, and the code inside it all intended to the right too. Now in Python, this is critical to do. In Java, is not important. Even if I have my code like this, it will work. But it's not a good practice because I want to show that I have a main class. Inside it, there is a main method. Inside the method, there is the code. So this code inside the method. So pushing the code to the right in the right way to make sure it looks better and organized is important for our code. So the steps we went through, we imported scanner. We, in the class itself, created an object called S, and then we created variable num1, num2. You could have added it to the input here, but anyway, we added it. Then we display a message to the user, enter number1, and then we use next int because the number is integer, and then we add another one, and we said next int. And we stored the first one in num1, the second num2, and then we had a line to add them together with a variable called sum, and then we display the sum. This is our code we need to do. Now the question I have for you, here I have print, not print ln. Usually I use print ln. Okay, but here I use just print. What the difference?
Sir, because it's a number.
Sir, you're just asking a question, so you don't need to print the entire thing.
Sorry?
So you're just printing out the question. When you say system.print enter the first number, you're just asking the user to input a number. You're not asking the full answer. So
yeah, that's a good question. It's
So
not the
because you don't
exact
want to
answer.
skip a line.
To print the output in a new line.
So is it
You
because
don't want to.
yeah. So may I answer?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I think it's because after printing it won't move to the next line.
Yes, because we want the number to appear on the same line of enter the first number. In the same line, not in the next line. You are right. And this is why we use only print. We will look at it now. Yeah, that's the right answer. So let's run it now and see what will come. So we run it and there is an error there. I think we have in some, there is an issue in the sum here. There's an additional, this one. It's created. Not every code it will create for you will be right. Sometimes it will make some errors, but that's fine. Now this is running perfectly. Let me just clean this console so it will look good. Now it's asking for the first number. Notice where is the first number? Where is the cursor coming? On the same line. So I put here 45, second one 77. Now because I use print only, not print L, the second line, the second statement executed on the same line as the first one. Now let's change it and make it print ln, just for you to know. And this is very good. Let's run now here again. Let's run it and see what will come. See, now it's asking me enter the first number, but it's appearing in the second line. Yeah, but this one is appearing first in the same line. So that's where it is. Excuse me, I have an urgent call I need to answer. Sorry for that. Yeah. So now we understand that println, although it's a small thing, but sometimes I want you to be aware of all this. So if you use println, the next two things you run will come on a new line. But if you don't use ln, that's it. Now I think is this clear? Let me stop here and I can see some hands up. So let's answer any questions you have before we continue. Zubair.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put my hand down. I wanted to ask the question. That's it. Finish.
Okay, good, thank you. Aisha?
Same here, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Stephen?
Sir, when we're using the same scanner, can we put like everything on that same scanner, or can we also use different scanners for different numbers?
You can use different scanners for different numbers. Of course, if you have a mix of double integer in your data, one variable is double, the other one is integer, the same scanner still will work fine with you with no issue. But if you add another scanner, it will work. But the same scanner will do for you all of it. You can read integer, you can read double. Let's now do some change on the code. Let's make this one, for example, double. Okay, double. Okay, there's only one issue we'll get through, but that's fine. And here I can change this one using the same scanner. Yeah, double. Yeah. Now my code will work. The only issue when adding integer to double, I need to change the sum to be double in this case, because I want the fraction to appear. See, now I'm mixing double integer, but I'm still using the same S scanner. And I can do that. Say this one I'm entering this, but this one I'm entering 0.6. So you can see now it's working. So the same scanner can work. But if you want to add another scanner, yes, you can add. But you don't need, it will do all of it for you. But if you have multiple files, one file, a student, for example, we did last time, or others, and in the student, we have a code and we have user input, there I need to use another scanner. But inside the same file, one scanner can do the same thing. But that doesn't mean you cannot create another scanner. You can create, but it's just wasting of computer memory when you don't need it, in fact. Okay, Jashel, you put your hand down. Ranim,
Yes.
oh, you're
So,
still there. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
so in the starting, you declared the variables early on, but is it necessary? Because when you're writing after system.print, you're calling num1 again, but can't we declare num1 there itself?
Yeah, if I don't want to do here, yeah, I can declare I put int here. Yeah, you have these two options are okay. You can put int here and double here, yeah, and then remove this one. Okay, this will work. This still will work. Okay, but for me, as a process, I declare variables first, and then later I give them values or anything. So it depends on your way of doing it. But both of them are fine. I can do this way, I can do that way. So, but the good practice is you declare variables first, and then when you come to assigning value to it, you assign value to it. But that's still the same. But if I don't use int here, it will not work. This for sure, this will not work because now first time the compiler seeing num and it doesn't know num, is it, what is this num? Is it integer? It is double, it will not work. But I have to say use int here. So I have this option to do this, or the way I did before, if this can go back and get me my code. Yeah, this is the way I can do, but I cannot declare it twice again. I have to declare it only once. Okay, so this one is a more formal. You declare variables and then later you come and assign them values. Okay, Ranim.
Yes,
Ranim, yes.
hi. This
Yes.
is my first session that I joined, so I don't understand what scanner is.
Good. I will explain it now. Yeah, scanner is a tool that help us get input from the user through the keyboard. So if you want the user to enter data from the keyboard and you take that data and store it in a variable, you need to use scanner in Java. Other languages, they have their own input. Like if in Python, you can use input directly. But in Java, if you want the user to enter data from the keyboard, you need to use scanner. There is another one for reading data from a file. There is another one for reading data from, say, internet or other tools. Before getting input from the user in keyboard, you need to use scanner, and that's scanner what need to be done. Without scanner, we will just store the value inside the code, and that makes it rigid. It means every time you want to run the code, you go change the value and then run the code. But when you use scanner, when you run the code during the runtime, let me clear this again. When you run the code during the runtime, you provide the data. So now I can say 77. Second time I can say something like that. So during the runtime, I can enter the data. But if I store the code here without scanner, this will be fixed inside the code. And not everyone is a programmer to do it. But if I send this code to someone who not a programmer, they need a way they can run it and just enter the data. Not to that. Is that clear now, Aisha? Ranim, I think.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Aisha?
Hello, sir. I just
Yeah.
want to know is there like a break statement for Java?
Yeah, there is a break statement. Yeah, that you need to use sometime in a loop or in some situation like that. Yeah, there is a break statement.
Okay.
Okay. Who else? Siddharth,
Yes, sir. Sir, how did you get the question statement and the answer in the same line, sir? I'm not able to get that.
yeah,
Like,
you
is it
don't use, the solution is easy. You see this word print? You
yeah.
don't use print ln, use only print. If you use
Okay.
print ln, will be on a second line. If you just use print without ln, then it will make it on the same line.
Thank you.
Okay, pleasure. I think Zubair.
Yes, sir. You have this num1 is equal to s dot next int. This s is just a variable of scanner, right? We can assign any letter. Am I right?
Yes, correct. I
Okay.
can call it anything here. Whatever I call it here, I have to call it here.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Good. I think that's good. I think we're done. Let's continue on what we need to do. So we looked at that one, then that's very good. Now let's get into something called arithmetic operations. We have done it before and you know them. All of them you know, except maybe one of it is confusing you. I think the addition we know is just plus. Adding two numbers, A plus B will get you the addition. Minus is clear. Multiply, we use star, not X. X is not used, you need to use a star. And then divide, we use just this divide. We'll divide it and give us the outcome. This one may be new for you. I'm sure you know it. The modules give you the remainder of it. If you divide 15 by 4 using percentage, then will not give you the division, will give you the remaining value. And I just did little thing here for you to clear that. So if you have 15 divided by 4, in this case, what will be the outcome? The closest integer number to this one is 3, because 3 multiply 4 will give you 12, isn't it? If I use 4, it will be 16. So 3 is the closest. Okay, now if 3 is the closest, that will give us 12. How much remaining from the 15 that we didn't divide by 4? What's remaining is the difference between 12 and 14, and that's 3. Okay, divided by 4. So if you say this is remainder remaining, so when you do something like this, 15 percentage 4, the result will be 3. The 3 is the remaining value of that calculation. And that's something easy to do. Now, I want to go back to how to solve programming problems. Now, if you are giving any statement or any challenge on coding, what is the best way to solve it? Okay. You need to identify 3 things. You need to know what are the inputs. So the user will input what data, or what are the data will provide to that code. It can be user input, can be from already computer memory, or come from a database or file, or come from the internet, and or can come from anywhere. Can be a picture of a person, can be a voice. Inputs can be so many different formats, as you know. But we need to know that for that problem to solve it, what are the inputs? Like in mathematics, you want to solve something, you need to know the input, what will input into that formula or in the data. And then you need to know what will be the output, what we're going to display on to the user or do at the end of that. And then you need to know the step by step to produce the output from the input. That's the simple logic to do. And let's take some examples. So let's take this one. Okay. When you're giving any programming task, answer these 3 questions again. What are the inputs? What are the step-by-step to do, and what's the output? Okay, let's take an example here. So write a Java program that calculates the remaining balance after expenses from a given monthly income. So I get monthly, say, 10,000 dirhams. I spend 7,000. How much remaining of that money? In this case, what are the inputs? What's the output? And what the steps we're going to do? So the inputs is clear. We need, here is inputs. What the inputs here? I need to know monthly income. I need to know how much I spent. Without these two, I would not know how much remaining in my balance in my account. So these are the two, monthly income and monthly expenses. This you can declare it like this, double income. Why we use double? Because usually income you have fraction point. You pay your felses or cents or whatever currency you're using. And expenses usually has a decimal point. If you buy milk for 10.5 or 0.7 or something, so there's a decimal point there, okay? So I need to know my total income, my total expenses. Without these two, I cannot do that. The outcome, of course, is the balance of the two. The balance is double because these are two double. The balance has to be double. What is the process to do it? Of course, I'll ask the user to enter the data, or I'll get it from fixed data or whatever. And then I need to add these two numbers together and then display the result. This is the detailed process. But actually what I will do, I will subtract the expenses from the income and get the result. But before that, I need to do those steps I need to do here. So we can now modify that previous example to make it do this one. So our inputs are the variables we will declare. We will ask the user to enter these things, and then we'll calculate the balance and we'll display, we'll calculate the balance and we'll display the outcome is the balance. So if you want to modify this code is one good thing we can do, but I will not modify it because I will share it with you first, and then we'll create another one, because I believe when you do things multiple times, you learn better. Yes, I want you to learn that better, and that will not be complicated. So let's go back. I'll create a new one. I'll call Java. I'll say balance after balance. Okay, let's do it. And let's do it quickly, and it's now became easy for us to do. We know what to do. Let's make this one bigger, delete this one, remove our these comments, but we know now how we can do that. And we'll need to import the scanner, import Java utility scanner, and then inside here, we will come here. So I'm repeating here so you can learn it better. So scanner, I'll call it here this time SC. I'll call it SC because you need to know that if I change SC will be fine. Delete this one here. Now I need variables. So first double, I'll call it income, semicolon. Now you can put the two together. I can say income expenses. Okay, if I do this way, it's still okay. I can have them two lines, one called income, one called expenses, but I can put them together with comma, not semicolon in between, and this will work. Now let's have a message to the user, system.out.println. Okay, I put use ln, remove ln, and say enter income. Okay, semicolon at the end. Okay, semicolon. And income will be SC double income, and then we'll say enter expenses, and see, and it's smart to be for us. Finish. So this is the code. Basically, we ask the user to enter the income. We store the income into income, whatever. We asked them to use expenses. We took the expenses and added to expenses. Now we calculated the net, we call it double or balance, and we said your net or balance, make it balance here. See, you understand now, this, anything between quotation will display it as it is, even if it has a spelling mistake, anything without quotation should match the variables you have. Otherwise, that will cause an issue. And now we are ready to run our code. So assume my income is 10,000. I'm spending 9,000. I'm spending too much. Then that's it. So it's a very simple process to do. So this is why I like to declare variables first to say these are the inputs or things will come, and then ask the user to do the input, do the calculations which needed, this is the process, and then display the result. So these are the steps we go through to do that, okay? Here is another example. This is an example where I removed my animation, by the way. So write a Java program that calculates the total cost of grocery after adding the price of individual items. We'll assume you have 5 items. So if you have 5 items, the input will be item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5. Later, we'll use something called array. So instead of using item 1, item 2, I will say just only item, 1 item. But now, because there are 5 items, because we didn't do the array, we'll go through this one. So item 1, item 2, item 3, these are the inputs. Then the out will be the total, and the total is calculated by adding the 5 items. I think this is easy for you. You can do yourself. I added some more exercises for you here, like fuel efficiency calculator. You have access to this presentation. I will send it to you by email. Anything I add to it, it will be updated on yours because this is live there. So you will find all these things in that presentation sent to you by IV. So this fuel efficiency, you can look at that one. Loan interest calculator, same concept. You need to know how much the loan, and then you multiply by the interest rate, then you add the interest rate to that. Currency converter, converting from one currency to other currency to do. And area of rectangular, you need to know the length and width, and then you do that. Pizza price per slice, if you know how much the pizza is and there are how many slices in it, then you can divide the number and you'll find body mass index. You need maybe to find out how it's calculated. Then average speed calculators, do that, easy. Saving account balance, all these things you should be able to do now because of what we explained here. So I want to jump into the loops now because the loops are important thing to do. But before I do that, I can see Rashid put his hand up. Rashid.
Excuse me, sir. Do you do all
Yes.
the exercises or only one?
Do all of it yourself.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Do whatever you want, you can do. You don't have to do them all. But if you do them all, you will learn better. Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's get into the loop now. Yeah. What are these loops and why we need the loops and how we can do them in Java?
So basically, loops are just like repeating statements. Like if the statement is true, the loop will end. If the statement is false, the loop will keep repeating.
Yeah. So it's repeating, you're right. But there are so many types of loops, we'll go through them, yeah. So in Java, loops used to repeat things, as you rightly said. So you repeat one statement, multiple statement. You repeat a block of code, usually. They call it block of code. And that's how it is. But how to repeat that code, there are different type of loops. And when you should use each one. There is for loop, there is while loop, there is do while. So for loop, you use it when you know how many times you want to repeat. I want to repeat it 5, 10, 20, 100. I know how many times I want to repeat it. If I know how many times I need to do that, then I use for loop. For loop is good for knowing how many times you want to repeat something. But if you don't know how many times you repeat, and you repeat until while something is true, uh, then you use something called while. We'll look at it later. So while continues while something is true. While we still did not reach the end of today's session, I'll continue explaining. So I'm continuing explaining because the time is still not up. As soon as the time of this session finishes, I have to say thank you, bye-bye, I'm going, okay? While it's the daytime, you do things. While the traffic light is green, I will drive. But while the traffic light is red, I will stop at the traffic light, okay? While it's true, you continue repeating the things you do, yeah? I keep repeating, waiting, because the traffic light is red. As soon as it becomes green, I move carefully with my car. The other one, so the while one, the condition is at the beginning. If the condition is true, then you continue the loop, you go. Okay. The other one called do while. The do while, you do the things, then you check if that's true. So the condition is not at the beginning, the condition at the end to do. So you use the do while when you need to run the code at least once, and then you check. If the code has to run at least once without condition, and then you check, use do while. But if the code cannot run until the condition is met, cannot start, not even once, then use while. Okay, we will look at this with examples, you will understand it better. But I think you have a good idea now of how it works. Let's move in depth into the for loop. Here is the structures of the for loop. So this is an example of displaying the numbers from 1 to 5. If you want to display 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, using the for loop. So where you start by the word for. Notice the word for is the F lowercase. You are right. The F must be lowercase. If it's uppercase, you're not going to work. Okay, similar to do, similar to while. You can see most of the keywords are lowercase. Public is lowercase, static lowercase, void lowercase, class lowercase. Yeah, anything built in Java, usually lowercase. So for lowercase, then you have a bracket. This is the normal bracket. You cannot use a brace here, or you cannot use square bracket. It must be this bracket to do. And then you need to, where the loop will start. The loop starts from I equal 1, and y, I is integer. So what we're saying here, you start from 1, okay? And I equal 1, this is the starting point, you start 1. Can be 0, can be any number here, but in this case, because we want to display the numbers from 1 to 5, we're starting by 1. Okay, so this is the first part of it, the start. Now, to continue the loop, there is a condition here. And between that condition and continue the loop, there is a semicolon. This semicolon is a must. Comma will not work. Colon will not work. This should be this semicolon. Okay, semicolon. And then here comes the condition. This loop will continue while I is less than or equal 5. If it is less than or equal 5, will continue. If it is 6, it will stop. So this is the condition for the loop to continue, the one in the middle between these two. So this is the condition. So it continues while I is less than or equal 5. Means during 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will continue. When it gets 6, stopped. Now, how it get incremented from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6? Comes the third part, which separated by a semicolon from the original, from the second one. Okay, here is the increment. I plus plus means increment I by 1. So I will start 1, then I will become 2, then I will become 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. Okay, so it get incremented by 1. The plus plus means increment, and increment after you run the code. There's plus plus, I plus plus, and there's something called plus plus I. The differences between the two. This one is incremented after that line of statement. The plus plus incremented before that. We'll look at that later, but the commonly used is I plus plus. That will increment I by 1. If I want to increment it by 2 or 3 or 4, I need you to think about it, and later we'll do that one. So this is basically now incrementing by 1. So far we have 3 components. We have the start point and I equal 1 or 0 or whatever, then a semicolon, then the second one repeat the loop while I is less than or equal 5, and then semicolon, then this is the increment, the steps. Goes one step by 1 or 2, then 3, okay. And then, of course, you have to close this bracket. We have the bracket started here. We have to close it here. Yeah, same bracket. And this the start, now coming the start of the block of 4. This brace and this brace. And then here we will have all the statement we need. In this case, we have only system.print I. And this will repeat it for five times. Okay, let's get into an exercise again. I'll share with you this one again in the chat, just for in case you need it. But by now you don't need it, I know, but I'll share it. Let's create a new one, and we'll go back here and create a new one. Java practicing for loop. Okay. Good. So let's back to here. And here is everything. I'll delete this one again, and delete this one again, and delete system, and we're back here. So let's do that, and let's come with a for loop where int equal 0 to 10. Now doing something different. And if I do this, what it will do? So I started I by 0, while I less than 10, and increasing I by 1. Okay, let's run this one and see what will be the outcome. This is the outcome. 0, 1, 9. You see 10 is not displayed. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why 10 is not displayed? Because I said while less than 10, and the closest is 9. If I use equal here, that's one way, and run it, you will find now it's came 10 is included, 0, 1, 2 until 10, because I use equal. Okay, the other way I can do it without equal, I can use 11. Just I'm trying to get you to understand that. So from 0 to 11, I started by 0. If I start by 1 and run this one, I'll get 1 to 10 now. 1 to 10. Okay. Every time it goes through the loop, display I, and I is that number. Now I can make this one a little better by saying I equal space plus I. Okay. Let's run it now to look maybe slightly better. See, now it's coming I equal 1, I equal 2, I equal 3, I equal 4, I equal so on. And that's where it's happening. Okay. Now, what if I wanted to jump one number? Instead of going 1, I want to go 1, 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 7, 9. How I can do that? Okay, this is your way to do it. You need to change this one. You can say I equal I plus 2. If you do this here, now we're saying the third part increment by 2. Okay, this is one way, but there's other way I can do it. But let's me do it this way first. If I do this now, should I delete this one? I'll delete it. Okay, see now what we're getting 1, 3, 5, 7, because we're jumping by 1. There is another way I can do this. I can say I plus 2, something like this. This also will work. Which, what does it mean? It means increase I by 2. If I say plus equal to, increase it by 2. I can jump by 3 if I want. So the third part actually is the increment. And if I use just the simple I plus plus, that will increase only by 1. If I use other calculations, whatever that calculation, it will jump that way. Okay, so I can see there are questions. There's one hand up. I'll go back to it and then we'll come back. Can't seem to figure out the error. Okay, I can see someone put an error here. I will look at it. Let me listen to Aisha first. Aisha. Aisha, you are on mute.
Oh, my question was regarding how do we increase, like, can we do the increment inside the loop instead of
You
writing
need,
it in, like, we
yeah,
write I plus plus, right? Can we write that inside the loop?
you can, but it will confuse the code. Yeah, you can. So let me say now, after I did that one, I'll say I equal I plus 2. Let's do that now. Okay, and see what will happen now. Now it jumps from 1 to 4 instead of 1 to 3. Why? Because I incremented here by 2, and again it added 1 here. So it became jump to 4, not to 1. Okay, so this case I need to know that I need to add only 1 if I want. So now it's jumping 1 to 3. Why? Because here it's adding 1. And when it comes here, it also add another 1, so become 2. So you can do the increment here, but you need to understand how it works well. The easiest straight way to do it is you do it here in the condition. Yeah,
But
you
in the
can.
condition, it is necessary to add an increment.
Yes, it is necessary. Without that, it doesn't work because the loop will not move. It will stay on the first place. If there's no increment, it will not go because this helps it to move to the next step. Without that, it doesn't work.
In case we want to, write it inside, can we write in the condition like I is equal to I?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Okay, I just want to look at the code of someone who shared it. He said he's not able to figure out what the issue. Public static. This is the one. Correct number scanner in. System print enter in, and then income next double. Okay, then outcome B. You have 2 scanners. You don't need scanner B. You don't need scanner B as well because you're confusing yourself, and output is there, correct, but you're not using the output variable in anything to do. So your code has multiple issues. If later you want to share screen and show me, we can look at it. to do. Okay. Who is on the, we have some other, Stephen. Yeah, Stephen, good.
So I have a few questions about the increment condition.
Yeah.
So why do we use two pluses instead of one?
Yeah, the 2 plus means you will increase it by 1. 1 plus doesn't work. This is the way the language is set up. If you want to increase anything by 1, you need plus plus. That's
Can
the
can we do
rule.
more?
No, you cannot do more. You need plus plus only. That's what will work. Either plus plus or before or plus plus after. The before, it added before the going to the next line. The one after, it will add it after you go to the second line to do. But just take it now. You need to use plus plus if you want to increment by 1. There is another way you can do it. You can do this one. Plus
One?
equal 1. This is again the same thing. Or you can say I equal I plus 1. This is equivalent to I plus plus. So this is equivalent to I plus plus. But instead of all these things, which looks very complicated, why just we say I plus plus if it's equivalent? So that's the way it works, Stephen.
So I also have another question.
Yeah.
So if we have I plus plus here and then we do another increment, which one happens first? The I plus
Yeah,
plus or the one
the
down
I
there?
Yeah, the I plus plus will happen first. Then the second one, it depends where you put it. If you put it here, it will happen before, of course, the print statement. If you do it after, it will happen after the print statement. And then that's where. So this one will happen first, the plus plus. The one inside the for loop bracket, it will happen first. Anything after that will happen next. But where it will happen depends on where you place it. You place it here or you place it here to do. Okay? What the other
Yeah.
question now?
Yeah, I think the for function is doing the same thing as while. Based on the what you said, it's doing it
Yeah.
until the condition is met.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's
So is
correct.
for the same as while?
It's similar to the while, yeah, similar to the while, but it has fixed number of times it will repeat because you can decide the beginning, the end, and how much it will increment. So you can expect how many times it will be repeated. The while depends on a condition that will change later. The condition cannot be only the number of iteration, can be another thing. For example, you can say uh, uh, go through the student list until you find someone his name is Ahmed, then stop. So it's going through. Ahmed can be the last, can be the second, can be the third, can be anywhere. The condition is not based on the numbers of item times to repeat, but based on a condition. This is the difference between the main fundamental difference between while and the for loop. Is it clear, Stephen?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You have another question, or we move to Ravi, Rajiv?
And I can move to Ravi.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Rajiv, uh, unmute your microphone.
Hello, am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes,
Okay,
you
my
are.
name is Rajvi, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. A couple of questions. I'm sorry if my terminology is wrong. I'm still trying to understand the names of all the codes. For the increments, I think the I plus plus and all, the first person that was speaking, they were asking something about if they could add another line of code to, I don't know, make it like give it from skipping from 1 to 3 to 5, right? And before we were doing 1 to 2, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on for the I plus plus. For the placement for that code, you had explained how we need to put it in a certain area, otherwise it won't work, right? There'll be some system error. I did not understand that, the placement of,
Sure. Sure.
yeah.
Okay. I will try to explain it. Now, when we use plus plus here, okay, as I said to Stephen, the I will be increased here, okay? So if I increase it here and then increase it somewhere else, that will be increased twice, yeah? So it will, I should expect the value of I has been increased twice because I increased it here and increased it inside as well. So
Increase
that,
twice, is it? Like it will
yeah,
jump from 1 to 2 to 3.
yeah, exactly. So it will be increased twice, and that will jump a step ahead of the normal step it should go. So if I say here, if I run this one now, will give me 1 to 10, yeah? If I add here somewhere, I equal I plus 1, now it will stop doing 1 to 10. It will jump from 1 to 3, 3 to 5, because it will increase it one here and then come here and increase it with another one. So you will start seeing data like this, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Because here it increased by, it started by 1, then it displayed the 1, then came increased by 1, and came back to the loop, increased it by another 1. So it will display 3 instead of 2.
Okay. If you had added this before the system out print
Yeah.
code,
If we do it
what would be the
before,
difference?
yeah, then what the difference will, it will not display 1, it will display 2 for me at the beginning. Why? Because it's here 1, then it will jump by 1 and then display 2. If I do it, see this, when I put it after, it started by 1 because increment is only 1 happening there, yeah? Now, if I put it after here, let's say before, sorry, let's put it before. Where is it? Yeah. Now, you notice the one when it was here, it was 1, 3, 5. Now, let's look at this now. Starting by 2. Yeah, because I'm increasing it before printing it. If I increase it after printing it, it will use the first initial 1 and then print it and then increase it and go to the loop, and the loop will further increase it by 1, so it will display 3.
Okay.
See.
And what if you added in the bracket, like for in for
Here,
in yeah.
Here is equivalent to if I add it here. This, when I add it after the print, is equivalent to adding it here. So if I remove it from here and put it instead of this one, this is, it will be the same thing. So if I run it now, you will see the same thing. 1, 3, there's a semicolon extra here, okay? It will be the same. Yeah, sorry, this has to be +2. +2, because I want to jump 2 steps, not 1 step. Now, if you do it, this will be 1, 3, 5, 7.
Okay, so this can be a replacement of I plus plus.
Yes, exactly. That's what I said. But it has to be +2, not +1.
Okay, but like if it was added after the system out print, then it had to be I plus 1 because it's already jumping from 1.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sidrat? Now, the more things I want to do with this, I think I can't hear you, Sidrat. I think maybe you're speaking. I can't see you are not unmuted. But I'll jump to Darshal, because Darshal first time speaking.
So,
Darshal, yeah.
yeah, can't you just remove the increment in the for loop and then add it within the loop itself to avoid the jumping?
Can you repeat, please?
So like you do I equals I plus 2 on the for loop, yeah? So can't you delete
Yes.
that and just add it in the loop itself?
You can't delete it. You must have it here. If you delete it from here, this will break the structure of the for loop. And if you come here and say I equal I plus 1, this will cause an issue for the for loop because the for loop needs to have the 3 components. So it is a must there. It
No,
is a
but
must.
the error says it only needs the semicolon, right? So
Yeah,
what if you add the semicolon after the
okay, let's put
condition?
a semicolon. Okay. Yeah, it's working, yeah, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works. So you can do that, right?
Yeah, but this is good, but this is not the conventional way of doing it. This is good. This will work if you want that. I see. I'll do 2 now. It will do 3, 5, 7, 9.
Right.
Yeah, but you need the semicolon to show there is a third one, but it's omitted.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, but better to have it here, just to be good. Okay. I think we're done. I can see others here. I don't want to leave anyone without answering his question, although I need to move ahead with the Bassam. Let's listen to Bassam.
Yeah, hello. In Python, you know how you can loop through an array? So you can loop through a string or an array. How would you do this in Java?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do the same thing in Java, but we'll get into that one when we do the array. Yes, you can do the same.
Okay, what about strings?
The same thing, yeah. You can do that.
Okay,
We'll do this later, yeah.
later. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Shama.
Yes, I would like to ask why is the bracket so important? And if we didn't put the bracket, it will show an error. I would just like to ask why is that?
This bracket? Which one?
Yeah, in line 10 and 12 and 15.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay. See, the language has some rules, yeah? If you want to repeat something that is a block of code, more than one line of code, you need this bracket. Now, because here I have only one line of code, if I remove this bracket from here and remove this bracket, I need to remove the 2, yeah? Let's look at this. I remove the 2. Now, if I run it, it'll be fine. It will work perfectly. So we don't need. But if I keep one here and do not close it down here, it will not work because I have open one and not close. If I have this one here and not here, then it will not work. Why? Because I'm saying this will not work as well. But if I remove both, it will work. But this will work only in one case, if I have only one line of code after the for statement. Let me add another one here. Let me add system.out.println. Okay, and I want to add a message here that display the multiplication of I. Let me just clear this one. Let me make this one only I, and let me say here I multiply 2. You have good questions, student. I like your question. Now, if you look at this code, I need you to look at it carefully. I have a for loop, and after the for loop, I'm printing I. So it will display I 10 times, 1 to 10. Will it display I multiply 2 10 times? The answer is no. And I'll show you this clearly. So when we run now, there is an error there. Yeah. Okay. This is, yes, it's not working. Very good. So let me multiply it. So it's not working. Why? For 2 important things. Now I run my code, it's not working. Okay, but let me do something just to make it work and then explain it. Yeah? Let me do this. So I have this line. Now be with me. The for loop will repeat 10 times to display I 10 times. Will it repeat this one 10 times? If I run it now, you will see it will do the 10 times, but this one did it only once. Why? Because this one is outside the loop, not part of the loop, because I put it after the loop. If I want this one to be repeated 10 times with the loop, I need to come with this bracket here. I put one here, one here. Now I'm saying don't repeat only the first line, repeat these two lines who are inside. So if I do this, you will see what? Repeat it 10 times. This text I have here. Repeat it 10 times. Okay. Why? Because I have a block that I'm repeating, not only a single line. But if I have only a single line to repeat, I don't need this bracket. If what's important for me is to repeat only the first one, and this I don't want, then I will take it outside, and then it will repeat the first line 10 times because it's part of the loop. The second one is not part of the loop, will be displayed only once to do. Now let me go to that example I put here. When I put I multiply 2, this is a very important thing which I need to exit. Now, if I run it, the whole code will not run. Why? Because for it, I is a strange one now. I declare only inside the loop. I is called local variable. Those variables we create, they have a scope. Scope means where they work. I work for Abu Dhabi University, so my scope in Abu Dhabi University. I do not work in other university, okay? So the variable has a scope. The I is declared inside the for loop. It can be used only for the for loop. When I try to use it outside, it's like a stranger. It will say, what is this I to have? Now, if I want this to be repeated as well, what I can do, I can put a bracket here. You notice I change where I put the bracket now, yeah? Just to show you that these things can be flexible a little bit. Okay, and let's push these two inside. Okay, and put this one here. Yes. Now, by doing this, I'm repeating the two together. Okay, so I is known because it's inside the same block of the for loop. So when I run, I'll get the same thing, 1 and then 2. Let me say here, I equal this plus I, and here 2 quotation 2I, 2 multiply I, 2 multiply I, quotation plus equal. So if I do it this way, it will look nicer a little bit. So in the first one, okay, sorry, I don't need the space here. So just clearing it. Now, in first one, we'll display I. I is 1. Sorry, again, I need equal here to look nicer, just to look nicer. The code is fine. So I equal 1. The second one is 2I equal 2, because I is 1. I is 2, 2I equal 4, because 2 multiply 2. I is 3, 2I. So now these two lines are repeated inside the loop because I use the bracket. If I don't use the bracket, it will, or the brace, it will repeat only the first one. Now I see that so many great hands on this one, sorry, not that many, which Amir, what's your question? Unmute, okay. Yes.
What happens if the
Arwa Amir, sorry for that. Yeah.
Yes. What happens if the 2 was became -2? Will it still like?
Oh, this is a very good question. Thank you for that. Now, I displayed the numbers from 1 to 11. Okay, how I can display the numbers from 11 to 1? How I can display from 11 to 1, reverse order? How I can do it? Yes, correct. Who said that? I didn't hear you, but anyway, I can reverse the thing. Start by 11, by 10. So start from 10 and go while uh, more than 0. And here I see I minus minus. If I reverse this and make the start is the highest number and then continue while I more than 0, then reduce I by 1, this will give me the reverse order. I don't want this one because it will confuse you. Let me have just one line like this. And look at this now, it's coming from 10 to 1. So if you want to reverse it, you need to start by the highest number, make this one more than the smallest number you want to stop at, and then reduce it by 1. So start 10, then 9, then 10, and go like that. So this reversing things again. Now it's minus, it gets minus. Now if I want to get into minus, say more than minus 5, what will happen if I do this? Look, start at 10, 9, 11, get to 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Okay? If you want equal to add to it, do equal add to it now. Okay? Now I think you're getting it. The for loop became
thank
like...
you.
Good, thank you. Maybe the for loop became a piece of cake to everyone. Okay, let's continue what we need to do. There are lots of things we need to do, and we have only 24 minutes. So let's jump here. These are more exercises on the for loop. You can do it on your own time. So they're very simple, like adding the sum of the numbers and then doing things like, let's do just one exercise of this, like adding the sum of numbers. Okay, let's say go back to 1 to less than equal 10 and I plus plus. Okay, that's what we'll do. How we can display the sum of the numbers from 1 to 10? What is the sum of the number 1 to 10? If you add 1, then you add to it 2, then you add to it 3, then you add to it 4, and continue. What will be the total? How you can do that? You can do this by this. If you can declare something called int sum, and you can say sum equals sum plus I. If you do this here, and then you come and display sum, let's declare the sum before, just to be in a safe side, and sum equal 0, and not declare sum here. Why I'm doing that? It's important, I'll explain. And then here we can add, just say the sum or the total, whatever you call it, plus. Now look at this code. So we started a variable called sum, we give it the value 0. Now practice, you need to remember. Anytime you add anything to create total or sum, usually you should start by 0. Okay, so you can accumulate the value, and this is why I put sum equals 0, because at the beginning I have nothing. Now when the first value is added, I add it to sum, become sum, the previous sum, which was 0, added to it 1. The second time the sum is 1 already, I add to it 2. Second time became 3, I add to it 3, and things like that, until I display. What's the total of this sum? Is 55. Total of the numbers from 1 to 10 are 55. If you add them, we do that. So this one doing that. If I want to make it 100 now, it will give me the total 200, 5050, okay? 1000, what do you expect the 1000 now to be? The 1000 this is the number of thing to do. Okay, so this is the way you can add the sum of the numbers. You can, of course, display the numbers here by using system.out dot print ln, and you add the I, yeah, and then you run this one, it will display it on the screen from 1 to 10, and that comes the 55. So it does both display the numbers and then do the sum. So you can use the for loop and do some calculation in between, calculation based on different things, and then you display the outcome you want to do. Okay, so we've done that one. At least you saw an example. Now we'll move into the array. We don't have enough time. We have 20 minutes, but we can do that. I think we'll explain it, then we'll repeat it again next time as we do. So what is the array? Those who came from Python, they know something called list, something called dictionary. This is similar to that, yeah? The array is just a way to have one variable to store multiple data for you, okay? So if I say, for example, I create a variable called student name, I can use that to store all your names in that single variable to do. And that's how it works. Let's show you how you declare an array, then we'll get some example. So you need to declare an array. You need first to say what data type that array will store. Similar, this is Java, yeah? Need to do that. So we'll assume we'll have integer data type, and I'll use something called grade. So I want to store your grade in it, or student grade, or my grade, or whatever. So the variable name now is grade. That's the variable name. How I can say this is not a single variable, one grade, it's multiple grades there. How I can say that? I need these two brackets, square brackets, not the brace, not the normal bracket. This square bracket, open and close, and they have nothing inside. I can have these two brackets here, after the variable, or I can have it after the end. Both works fine. Java allows both condition. So now I declare a variable of type integer. When I use this, I say this is an array. Now, how I can store this data in this array? Of course, I can use equal. If it's a single number, I just put a number there, isn't it? But this is a list of numbers. So how I can put this list of numbers? I need a brace to start. Say this is a list of numbers. I put the first number, then I put a comma, then the second number, then a comma, then I continue to the end. So these are the numbers I have. Then I close it with the same brace and semicolon. This is basically saying there is something called grade. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements in it. The first element has the value 95. The second one is 45, and so on. This is the way it works. Now with array, there's two things. One is the value itself, like this is 95, a value. But what location this value is at? What we call it index. The first value is at location 0 or index 0. So 95 is at location 0. 45 is at location 1. 70 is at location 2, and so on. Continue. This is the location. So we need to know two things with array. Where is that located? In which place it is? What is the actual value in that location to have? Okay. And if you come say, I want to print this one, system.out.println grade square bracket 0. I'm saying here, print the value that in index 0. What is the value in index 0? This line will give me 95. Because it's 0, there is 95 stored in that 0. If I use 4, then it will go and find 4, location 4, or index 4, and find the value there. So this is the way I do it. So now it will give me 80. If I use 2, for example, we'll go to index 2 and display the value there, 70. So the one between brackets, square bracket, is the location of it. Okay? The actual value stored in that place comes from the array. So you need to know the array to do. And this gets you the array. Okay, let's do some practice on this, and before we do anything. Let's say here, go Java, we'll say arrays. I didn't send you the link, but that was single one anyway. Arrays, okay? And let's back this one here and this one here, and we go back, delete this, and we'll delete this, and we'll do all this here. Okay, so let's declare that array. So end grade, open, close, and an equal, and let's put these numbers. Let's have some random numbers. Okay, gave us so many numbers, but anyway. Okay, so these are the numbers. Now, if I want to find and display system dot out dot println at location 0. If I run this one, I'll get 65 because I locate in 0, 65. If I put 5, it'll give me location 10. Okay, what if I want to display all these values I have here? Okay, so let me do this. Now I want to go through all of them and display them one by one on the screen. What do I need to use? Come put that in the chat. What do I need to use to display all of them? I need to use for loop, yeah, correct. So if I want to display all these things on the screen, now the for loop will come handy. For int I equals 0. Look at this. The array has a length. If I use grade dot length, that means I'm going to continue while I'm less than the length of the grade. And here I can say system dot out dot println grade I. Now, if I do this, what it will do? It will go through the array from 0 to that length of array, and then take the value of each one in each index using this grade I, and then display it on the screen. If I can do this, this is the numbers came on the screen. Okay, these are all hundreds. I don't know why they are all 100. It's 110. Make this one 70, 60. Some different numbers generated for me, some stupid numbers. 45, 77, 9, 4. I just want to get some better numbers. I delete those remaining 100. Let's put 100. Okay, so these are our numbers which in the array. If I click here, they will go and display this. Now, what if I want to get the total of these numbers in this array? How I can do that? Yeah, I need to put this now into bracket, yeah, because I am going to add more than one line of code, isn't it? Here, okay, I'll declare a variable here called int sum. I'll call it this time total int total. We'll call it total just for the change and give it value 0. Okay, And we'll come here and say total equal total plus I. Now, what's happening? Every time it goes into the loop, print the value of that element, add it to the total, and continue adding it. Will it display the total for me at the end? It will not. If I run this code, there's something missing. If I run this code, I'll get all the numbers. The total is calculated, but it stayed in the memory. I didn't ask for printing it. Where should I print the total? I should print it outside the for loop. Now you will understand. Don't lose focus and get confused. Now you will understand. Now if I do this, you will see it display the whole things and then add the total of the numbers. Because I put it outside. What if I put it inside the loop, not outside the loop? I came here. Why I'm doing it outside the loop? Assume I put it inside the loop. What do you think will be the difference? The difference is significant. One is you look at the result. What do you guess now happening? Every time it displays a number, add the total. So total, then add total. I don't want it to be like this. It's confusing. I want the total to be done after everything is calculated. So the calculation completed and display completed. Sorry, I wanted to do that. So I take it outside and I put it here. So having it outside means the loop will continue doing everything, calculating the total. And once the loop completed, it will display the total for me. And this is the difference between having it inside and outside. Now we'll spend more time on the array because the array is a very useful thing. And we'll be doing some sorting. Like, for example, if you want to order this array in ascending or descending, we need to find the highest value. We need to find the smallest value. We need to calculate the average. We can do lots of things with the array. There is also another syntax for the for loop we will use later, similar to Python, where you get into range, where, for example, I, N range or things like that. That's what we will do later. But the array is very powerful because allow you to store multiple data in one variable, and you do lots of processing with this data as you need. Now, questions. You have questions for me about the array? Yes.
So if we have a very long array, we don't want to write everything in it, but it has a sequence or something. How do we do this?
Yeah. Now, the array usually is not stored this way. Either you get the data from the user to feed the data. Like I'm a faculty now, graded my student. I want to find their grade based on the number. Like he scored 95, he is A, or scored something like that. So I can create a software that every time asking me what is the student grade, I enter the student grade. It does calculation, tell me this is A, B, C, D, like that, either this one way, or I have it in a file store. I have it in an Excel file or something, and it goes open the Excel, extract the data, put it in an array in the computer, and do some processing on it, which something you did Python, and in Python you can do some data analytics by accessing multiple file. But here I'm doing it this way just to illustrate how the array works in terms of index and in terms of value. But usually the array will not be stored like that. They come either from user input or from a file or from other sources that can be in. Did I answer your question?
How do we tell it to take things from Excel?
Yes, we will come to that one later. There is a session we'll do on input output to files, and we'll show you that how you can do a comma separated file. You can read from a file. That's another session because I need to explain the concept behind how to read and write to files. We'll do that And we'll use some arrays and we'll do some processing on that as well. Okay, any other questions? I don't see many questions coming. One, yeah, good. Steve, yeah, continue.
It's me again. Sorry.
No,
But
I'm happy.
I want to ask about
Because
like integer I, because like, okay, how do we know if it's like 0 the number or 0 the place in the array? Or does it just know because of grade dot length?
yeah, that's figured. Yeah. Now the one you do here is related to the index, the for loop. When you deal with array and use for loop, you are referring to the index, not to the value. Okay, and this is why you need to start by 0, because the array start by 0. The first value is at 0. So the I here is the index, and this is why it's I as well. So this is not the value. Now, if you want to get the value, you need to use the variable name, square bracket, and you put the index inside. So here, when we're displaying the data, we're saying grade, which is the variable of that array, and then we're putting I coming from the index as 0 here. So it look at the value at index 0, and then it will find it will become 60, 65, and then goes like that. So the array is dealing with the index, but if you want to display the value at index, you need to go back to the array variable and you add to it that index.
But then
Stephen, your
total.
questions are good, so continue asking questions, please. Yeah, tell me.
So no, but the total is actually dealing with the value because grade I is
Yes,
now a value.
correct. The total is dealing with the value because there's no point of adding the index. We need to add the value. So the total deals with the value. So total, we're adding the values. So we're adding 65 to 87 to, we're not adding 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. We're adding the value. So the total deals with the value, correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I noticed we're doing less than grade dot length. How come we got 100 also?
Very good. This, I like that. This is very good. So the length of the array uh, is including the 0. So here, for example, how many elements you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 element, okay? 12 element, yeah? But the first element at 0. So because we're shifting by 0, including 0, if when we say less than length, we are including the 100 because we shifted by 1. The array starts from 0, but the length is including 0 minus the actual last index. So the last index here, if we start this one, will be 11. The last index is 11. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So when I say the last index is 11, but what is the length? The length is 12. The last index is 11. But how many elements? 12. So if I say I'm going y less than the length, I'm including the 100. Because there is a shift by one place to do. Yeah, I hope it became clear. It's a little confusing, I think. But did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll go to, I think I have Lakshan, please.
Good evening. Good afternoon, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
So now this for loop is like you are indexing, that is like each index like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're printing the values. Instead,
Yes.
can we go for like in Python we have for I in grade. If it is a string or I mean if it is a string or if it's a, how can I say, like an array, for I in that array, and then you can print I. So
Yeah,
similarly, can we directly go for any indexing in Java?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do the same thing in Java, but you need to make sure using Java 18 or above. 18 or above came with something similar to Python syntax of saying for M, N, X, then display that. So it does that one. Yeah, you can do that. But you need to make sure you're using 18 or above, the version 18 or above of Java. Before that was
So sir,
not.
we can't do it over here on Replit, right?
You can do it on Replit because I think Replit is doing using the latest one. Try it and let me know if it works.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. And any syntax for it, particular syntax?
Yeah,
Or
the syntax is similar to Python 4, say for X or for grade G, for G, in G in grade, okay? Then display the data. That's the way it is. For G in grades, yeah, that's what
okay,
it is.
sir.
Try
Okay, sir.
and do some research on it and let me know what you will find.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Rajifi?
Rajvi, sir.
Oh.
Is it okay if you can explain what you were explaining about the 100 being added again?
Yeah. Let's make a
Is it similar to
small.
the previous one that we were doing for?
Yeah, I'll explain it, but let's take smaller one so we will understand it. Okay. So let's take a small one so it becomes something we will understand. So how many elements do we have here?
3.
We have 3. Okay. So we're saying go through those 3, start from location 0. What is location 0? Is 60, the value is 65, or value of location 0 is 65, isn't it? And location and value of location 1 is 87. Yeah, let's make this one 90. So
Wait, you mean like is 0 the index of?
0 is the index, yeah. So we're saying, yeah, so we start 0 is the index. So we're starting from index 0, okay, until index 4. Why less than 4? We're saying start from index 0. This what we're saying here. What we're saying here. Sorry, 3. What we're saying here. Start from index 0 while index is less than 3. While index is less than 3. This means index less than 3 because grade dot length is 3. So what we're saying, start from index 0 while index is less than 3. Okay? Index less than 3 means 2, isn't it? So it will display 0, 1, and 2.
Okay. If there were like, I don't know, 5 values in here, then it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
This is confusing, I know, because the index start by 0. That's the only. If it start, the index is 1, then it will not be confusing. But now I think it's maybe clear.
Okay. What if we had not stated that? That like
Sorry?
Start from 0.
No, we have to have in 0. If you put 1, it will display only 87. It will not display. So if I put this one now, not 0, and run this one, it will omit or ignore the 0 and display the value from 87. Because I'm saying now display index 1. This is index 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm saying 0 because I want to include the first one.
Okay.
Now let's look at if I add here equal, okay, I'll get an error. Why? Because it jumped to index 5, index 3, and didn't find the value for index 3. So I should not use equal. I should use less than only. Otherwise, it will try to find a value that is not there. Now, I hope
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah, okay.
Wait, so how did it work for the previous for loop that we were doing? If we had written the equal to or greater than, then it was working with adding
Yeah,
all the numbers.
yeah,
Right?
but the previous one we started by 1, okay, because we're not dealing with array. We're dealing with specific number, not an array. When you deal with array, you need to start by 0, and you need to end by less than the length of the array, because you need to include from index 0 to the index that is less than the length by 1.
Okay, that's why it's needed to be stated so it doesn't miss any numbers.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Khadija, first time you're asking question today, Khadija. Go ahead.
Okay, so I understand right now, but like in the app, I made an account, but it said that there's limited creation of Replit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because using maybe the free version. Is it saying that? This is
Yeah, I
strange.
think to upgrade, like, do we pay?
Yeah. Yeah, I think next day you run it, maybe it will run, maybe limit for the day. Maybe you create 2 accounts with 2 emails, or buy a version. I think if you buy it, will be a good investment. I think it's only $3 or something like that per month. I don't know how much it is exactly, because I upgraded long time ago. But you can, or just maybe download Java on your computer. I'll show you next time how you do it on your computer. But this is the first time I hear a student they saying you have a limited number of time to run it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, who else I have? Pranav.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt. Can you traverse through strings the same way in Java like we do in Python?
Yeah, similar thing. Let's do an example of, instead of numbers, let's put this one as a string. Okay, let's say Hamad would be something like that. Okay, and this. Okay, I have to say string here. String. I'll call it, leave it grade, but we'll see. There's something wrong, a semicolon in it here. There's some issues with this one, I think. I think total is not working. Causing issue. Yeah, there's some issues with the total. Remove total. Okay. Okay. I think there's something wrong here. Yeah, but.
So do we have to add curly brackets?
Sorry? No,
Adding curly brackets.
Sorry, curly bracket where? No, yeah, you can do curly bracket here if you want to do this like this way. It's just this, but you can, we'll do that. We'll just yeah, is that meaning like this? Now, if I do this like that, should be fine. Now there's a function we can use to convert this one to array to do. But if you have also numbers in the, you have letters inside that can work, and you can have here, for example, this should be different people. Say Hamad, this is one student. another one called Ahmad, Ravi, Steve, who's Ronaldo, Messi, David, anyone, okay? So even with this as a string, as you can see, it will work. Now I'm calling it grade, it's not the best thing. I'll say name, and we'll come here and call it name just to make sure you get this right thing. And then it will be name, so it becomes reasonable. So with this also, we are able to have array of string. And the good thing now, these are not numbers, maybe better for you to understand. So the first element at location 0 is Hamad. In location 1 is Ahmad. And you can have another array parallel to this one if you want. Let's do that one. And we'll call it grade. Yeah. This is a good idea. I think you gave me a very good idea. So Hamad is 90 and Hamad is 90. The number is equivalent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's it. So now what we can do, we can display the student name and grade because you have two parallel array representing one representing a number and one representing a grade. So if I do this, grade, okay, this is perfect now. Now if we run, they will come like that. Maybe it's better to have only one line instead of two. I'll add here space, grade, remove the first one. So will come the name and the grade beside each other. So I have two arrays, they are parallel to each other. They are the same length, both of them the same length, hopefully. And then I'm doing a for loop to go through that length, and then display for the first one, taking the name and taking index I and displaying it. And then for the same one, I'm using the same index and display the grade. So this way I have displayed both. You can have multiple arrays, not only one, and you link it. Like, for example, I can add the school, he's studying in, or the course he's doing in, and you can have multiple arrays. And in parallel, you can play with them the way. Oh, my apology. I think we already exceeded the time. I know I like that you all staying. But I think we're done today. We will do more practice on this next time. As you know, I enjoy it, so I don't feel the time. So sometimes if I exceed the time, just let me know. I don't want to take too much of your time. So thank you, everyone. We'll send you the video, and I hope you find today's session useful. Bye.